In the last episode of Pixar's Adventure Park, we finished a Bugs Land. We built an amazing kids coaster called Heimlich's Test Flight. We also added in the final details of the land. Hello everyone and welcome to episode 14 of building Pixar's Adventure Park. Now, as you saw by the title and thumbnail, we get to move on to the next area, which is going to be up. Before we start building anything, let me quickly show you what the plan is going to be. Now, for the up plan, I'm going to try and fit it into this area here. It's not the most amount of space, but it's more than a Bugs Land, so it should be easy to work with. Now, pretty much the whole idea for this land is that it's going to be set in South America. We'll build some iconic little scenes from the movie, build the up house, maybe even the blimp, but we'll just have to see how it goes. Now, let's quickly just get the path mapped out for this whole area, because I'm going to be honest, I don't really know what I'm gonna do. Every other area so far, I've kind of had some sort of plan of the layout of the land, but this one, I'm kind of just gonna have to send it. Before we get any further, I'm going to need to stop us here for one massive reason. Now, just before I said I had no clue what I was doing, and I was completely right. I did have absolutely no clue what I was doing. The footage you're seeing now is me going ahead and building what I thought would be the land, but I'm gonna be real, it sucked. It looks terrible, and then I did this. Okay, it has been a little bit, and I've decided I'm just going to delete this ride because it just wasn't going well. And then now we've got this, we can try and start building this water ride, and I think I do want to use the river rapids. Hold up, let me just stop you again real quick, because I went ahead and I built even more this time with more of a basic plan of what I wanted to do, but in the end I did this again. Man, I don't know what I'm doing, and I just feel like this is just not it. Ugh. Now, the reason this video is shorter than other Pixar Park episodes is because of this. I kept restarting and I just went null with it, and I ended up deleting it. So that's why this video may be a bit shorter than others. After this attempt though, I was on the right track, and I finally had an idea of what I wanted to do. And this time I wasn't going to go and delete it. So it has been an hour, I have planned a lot, and I am finally happy with something that I have thought of. Now, behind me we have 3 little rides, no roller coasters obviously, and as you might tell, there are no water rides like I was going to add before, and that's just because I feel like this area is just not going to be big enough for a good water ride. So first of all, we got a basic launch drop tower, pretty simple. We of course then have the balloon ride, which we need to have in this land. Then after this, we have this little custom ride. Now, I'm not going to tell you what this is just yet, but some of you may be able to piece this together. It comes up to here and it goes really slowly, goes up and comes back down. Like, I was researching this on YouTube and no one that I could find has done anything like this before. And yes, it is based off a real ride design that exists in the world. And I think this is probably the best I could have done. So I'm going to focus on this sort of ride in the next episode, I think, because this is going to take a lot of work. And one thing to note is that this is the full ride here itself, just this little piece of track. So leave your guesses on what you think this might be below. A big hint is that it's sort of hanging and you sit in it like this. So yeah. With that said, I want to now try and start to build the new path for the land. And I'm going to be real, this is like my 3rd time trying to build this, so let's hope this is the last time. So unlike the other times, I've actually drawn up a little plan of what I want to do. So let's see if we can try and just match that up nicely. Pretty much it's the same path as last time, but I want it to come out here a little more so we can fit some flat rides into there and, you know, stuff like that. Alright, so that is sort of the path layout that I want to go for. It's pretty basic. So with that done, we can now try and put some of the rides into place. The first ride we are going to do is just the launch free fall, which I think I want to put maybe around here. And with this, we are just going to make this really stinking tall. Something around that height I think will work nicely. The next ride I want to put in place will be the balloon ride, which will be around about here. It's sort of the same area as the last one, but it works nicely. And then this ride is going to go in this like area here. I'm not going to build it this episode, as I said before. That will be the next episode. Well, now that we got the flat rides in place, I want to finish off the up house, as you may have seen me building before. And I think once we finish this, I should have enough for episode 1. This episode has been kind of like Cooks done heaps of just random stuff, so it's been all over the place, I'll be real. So we'll just build it out here, and that should be good enough. Now, it's at this point that I decided to try and build the iconic house of the land. Now, this, I used a lot of reference material. I also had that little Lego set that they released just on my desk that I was kind of copying off. But one thing you may notice that at first I built this way too big to like the Roblox player scale, so I did have to shrink it down, but that didn't take too long at all. Most of this time was spent just mapping out what the layout of the house should look like and just starting to get those minor details on the bottom. After that, I got the porch made and I started to work on some of the actual detailings. And the one thing I did very wrong at first was getting these window sizes right. I made them way too small, but I went ahead later and I fixed it up a little bit. I also got some of the colors wrong, but those are really easy little fixes that I could do. Simply just changing them back to white. When I tell you this house took so long, I mean it took so long to make. I was trying to get everything right. As you can see here, this is where I fixed up the window sizes. I wanted it to feel like perfect. In the end, I'm pretty happy with how we got it, but I feel like it could have been a little better, but I think it's still pretty good. A lot of this was just getting these triangle pieces to make this sort of like wall that you have on the outside. I don't know what you got it, where they got like each individual plank on a bit of a slope. But other than that, it turned out looking really good. I used the new tile texture for the roof, which honestly is perfect for it. And other than that, we pretty much got the house almost made now. Gosh, this house is taking me so long. It's looking good though. I'm pretty happy with it. The back of it's just going to be very plain because you're not going to even see it. To be honest, I probably shouldn't have even done these sort of like curved wooden effects because you're not going to see it anyway. All right. It has been a couple hours. Well, I think I've got the base house done and it's pretty nice and I'm pretty happy with it. I mean, the back of it is plain, but it's going to be pushed up against the forest, so it's not like it really matters anyway. The last little touch I need to add to this is, of course, the balloons coming out, which is going to be a lot of work. What I'm going to do for these balloons as well, I think, is just make these a separate part, just because I want to be able to group these in like 3 different segments, because there's already more than, I can't group all the segments together. So let's get started with this. So I'm just going to start off first by making the strings that the balloons are going to be attached to, of course. There we go. That should be heaps. Let me just make sure this feels like, oh yeah, that feels great. Okay, next off, I need to make a basic balloon shape. And for that, I'm thinking of making them like this and a smaller cylinder at the bottom. It's very basic, but I'm trying not to do too many parts here. Now what I might do is just quickly make a whole bunch of colors. You got red, then there's like a light blue, then there's like a dark blue, you got like a purple one, you got an orange one, you of course got a yellow one, you got some sort of like a lime green one, and I think that's like the main colors. Now what I'm going to do is grab this light blue one and just make it really big. And I want to put this in the middle just so that it's sort of, I don't have to do as many. I can kind of just do the outside layer, if that makes sense. I don't have to like actually fill the middle with a bunch of balloons, which, let's be real, is going to take a long time. Just in case, you know, there's any cracks, this will just kind of make sure it looks like it's a big pile of balloons still. Now this is looking good and it's working a bit already. You can kind of see, like, if it was from a distance, you just think it was balloons, I guess, kind of. Almost. Not really, but you get what I mean. Now what we need to do is going to be the most annoying part of this, and it's going to be manually placing all these balloons. But what I think I might do instead is quickly just make a little patch of balloons and then paste the patches around, and then I can just kind of like try and fill in the gaps. I think would be the best way to do this. So I got one of each color here, something as simple as this. And then what I can start to do is just kind of place these everywhere. If I don't hit the part limit, I'm going to be not only shocked but surprised. Oh my gosh, already that's kind of looking really cool. Then I want to just get some along the bottom in here. Oh gosh. See, that's why we have these big ones, because even if there's little gaps, you can still kind of hide it a little bit. Gosh. Okay, you know what? I hate this game sometimes, I can't even lie. I think I'm going to have to just use spheres, because doing that is obviously just not going to cut it. This seems to be working pretty well, actually. I don't want to risk this, so I'm going to start having the balloons come in. Oh my gosh, bro. Okay. It looks insanely freaking, like, crazy. I don't know. It's just there's just so many balloons in there. But it should work. Oh my gosh. It's more than 250 parts as well. Okay. Okay. So these are the 3 parts of the balloons I need to group. Now we got to do the same for the house. I'm trying so desperately not to accidentally hook this. Yeah, it seems like it fit back in perfectly. Okay, now let's try and get this into place. And I have the perfect little spot for it. And it's going to be around about here near the entrance. So we will grab the house, bring it over. And then I kind of want it to be slightly on an angle. And also just a little bit up in the air. Like that, in that spot. Okay, we'll grab the other part of the house. Now we got to try and get this to fit into place perfectly. And just like that, I think should be good. It's levitating off the ground just a little bit, which is nice. And then the last thing we gotta do is put the bunch of balloons in. Lastly, we need to get this 3rd one into place. And just like that, we have done it. That looks pretty dang nice. I'm not gonna even lie there. Oh my gosh, that house took long enough. There's a couple little tweaks I still need to make to it as well. The first one is just to fix up the floor. One thing I want to also do before I end this episode is get the correct, what am I even saying? I want to get the floor into place, and in the South America sort of area, it's like weird concrete rock, kind of like this. I think just normal rock looks the best for it. Oh, this area is gonna be so sick once it's done. Oh my gosh. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is just get a couple trees over here. You know, it is South America. It is very foresty. I want to try and cover up the sides of it just a little, but not too much where you can still peek in and see it. And I'm thinking the queue for the ride, or for at least the balloon ride, could be like right here. Maybe could be pretty cool, or even right next to the house. Have it like here and to, oh gosh, it's gonna be such a cool area. Another thing I wouldn't mind doing is building the Spirit of Adventure, you know, like the massive blimp. I think building that would be pretty cool. But for the most part, this land is honestly gonna probably be really small. It's probably gonna be the exact same size. It's probably smaller than a Bugs Land, to be honest, but it's gonna be better. It's gonna have like an actual main sort of attraction, like what do they call them, e-ticket attractions inside of Disney World. Like this ride that I've got planned, it's gonna be pretty cool. A little hint for what that may be as well is that it's gonna take a lot of image panels because, well, I guess if you know, you know. But for now, I think this episode, we haven't done the most, but that's because I've built this land maybe 3 times now, and I have finally gotten to a spot where I am so happy with how this is going. So next episode we're going to do a heap of work. We'll probably try and get maybe the flat rides themed, and then potentially even this ride made. And after that we'll probably have another episode. So this maybe 3 episodes in the up areas, what I'm thinking. But thanks so much for watching this episode. If you made it this far into the video, then remember to subscribe and like. And I'll see you in the next episode of Pixar's Adventure Park.